So before we actually get into the lapel guard positions, one problem I see a lot of people, beginning lapel guard users, worm guard users, they have difficulty gripping the lapel, and in that time while they're trying to set up the grips, they're stuck with a limp lapel. And if you just have a limp lapel in your hand while you're seated, go ahead and stand up for me, it's better for me to just show you. So say I want to play lapel guard, whatever lapel guard I'm going to be playing, whether it's worm, squid, gupper, whatever. If you grip the lapel first, like this, and then as I just like lazily try and get to my position, I don't really have any grips or control here. It's going to be very easy for the person to maneuver around, potentially get really strong grips on my legs and toriando me, while all I have is just this useless bit of fabric. So, intermediary lapel controls are controls in which it's more of an open guard rather than something tight like the worm guard or really secure like the squid guard or more of like a closed guard like the gupper guard. It's when it's open, okay? You still need to incorporate your feet to provide that countermeasure, that counter pull that gives this lapel energy and strength and allows me to actually use it on my opponent, okay? So the most simple thing you can possibly do is when you have the lapel grip is you're going to lay flat on your back and put both feet on each shoulder, okay? So now I have a pull, which pulls his body into my feet, and I have a push to take the slack out of the lapel, and this is going to give me a solid control. This is one intermediary lapel position. So I'll rotate this way a little so you can see here. I have my feet on the biceps or the shoulders. I actually prefer to go on the shoulders because if I go to the biceps, he still has control over my legs and can start to weave them out and do traditional spider guard breaks to deal with my lapel control. So I like to double up on the lapel because putting both hands on the lapel allows you to quickly switch from one side to the other. Because the worm guard is very unique that it doesn't have to be played just on one side. You don't have to just get really good playing with one grip. You can use both your hands and switch to either side. So I like to keep both on until I'm ready to decide what type of lapel guard I'm going to be playing. So putting my feet here is a very good start. The reason for this is now if he tries to do traditional guard passes, for instance, a leg drag. If he tries to leg drag me here, you can see my foot has created a wedge, I would say, in the side of the lapel here. It's wedged in there. It's going to be very difficult for him to just throw my leg across. So this is sort of like a backup control for me. I have my foot on the shoulder. If he tries to pass to the other side, the same thing occurs. I'm just going to try and guide my foot into a position where he can't actually complete his pass. Okay? So that's the most basic thing. If he tries to toriando me downward, same thing. I want to put my foot in the lapel. Now, this position doesn't have a name other than just another one of the intermediary lapel positions. There's the foot on the shoulder, like so. Another one is what's called the stirrup, and that is when someone tries to put my legs down. So if I just leave my feet here and he tries to pin my legs flat to the mat, he's going to pin them. And I'm stuck with the lapel, and he's going to do some sort of pass, and I'm screwed. So as you're waiting to set up your guard while the guy's going crazy trying to pass you, because this is the most difficult part of lapel guard, is just getting to the position. Once you're there, it's super strong. So what I've done to help myself is I've gotten very comfortable playing open guard with the lapel. And now it doesn't require a lot of dexterity or flexibility like a lot of other open guards require. It just requires some precise foot placement and a little bit of understanding that he's probably going to try a certain guard pass. So if he goes left to right, it's easy. I'm just putting my foot in the lapel to keep him in front of me and not allow him to get too close to break my position. If he starts to try and push my legs down like this with a toriando motion, I need to make sure that my heel goes inward so that it creates a little pocket. There's a little pocket here in the lapel that is a perfect spot for my heel. And I put my foot there, so now if he tries to push my legs down, it just catches on this lapel. And I just sort of engage my hamstring here, pulling inward like I'm doing a leg curl. And this does two things. One, it secures my foot to the lapel so he can't just pop it down and out or anything. And it also breaks his posture a little bit. Now he's carrying a little bit of my weight. So if he tries to stand up straight, I am pulling on the lapel and using my heel to keep him down. Here. So this takes away two of his options. The left to right options and the downward option, right? So if he tries to push my legs down, he cannot. If he tries to push them left to right, my foot is still catching on the lapel on both sides, controlling. Okay? The final position or movement he may try and make to deal with me grabbing his lapel is pushing my feet upwards, like this. And this is an equally awkward thing. If he gets my feet up off of the lapel and I'm just hanging onto the lapel, I'm probably going to get my guard passed. I would have to let go and switch to other grips, which is what we don't want. That's the whole reason lapel guard is strong, is because we do not have to ever let go of the lapel, other than switching it between our hands. I don't want you to ever have to switch to another guard, okay? So, to stop that, when we feel him start to change his hands to change to more of an upward stacking pass, I'm just going to slide my heel out and put it underneath now, like this. I'm still driving upward, and I'm still using it to create tension in the lapel so I have control. But now if he continues to drive me upward, no matter where I go, he's coming with me because I have this control. If he switches back to going downward, for instance, I need to put my heel back. And then side to side, same deal. Here, here. So we need to be fluid in the motion. So it's just heel in or heel under. Notice how my foot is sideways here. I've turned it sideways. I'm not like this. If I just go here, it's still going to slide. I need to make sure that I turn it into like a cross motion, so it's creating a T across the lapel. That's what's going to give me the control I need. Okay? Now this doesn't require flexibility. I'm just keeping my legs straight. I'm laying flat on my back. I'm just creating strong leverage here, using the friction of the gi on my foot so it doesn't slide away too easily. Ideally, you want to have it right at where lapels have this split in the skirt. That's a really good spot. A little deeper is fine as well if they have a longer gi, but this is just fine. Just anywhere in this area. Not under the armpit though. Don't go under the armpit. Keep it just in front of the shoulder, but I'm driving upwards so that my heel is exposed underneath. And that is how you control. So if he starts to move around, left to right, I'm just here. I'm driving down if he tries to do toreando. If he starts to drive up, I'm going to switch, put my foot up, and just calmly trying to recover back to the center position each time. He's going to be expending a lot more energy than me because he's using his muscles and I'm using leverage and friction to hang on. The only muscle I'm actually exerting is my grip, which is probably the easiest grip to maintain in jiu-jitsu, and a little bit of pushing motion with my legs. So not a lot of dexterity is required. You probably saw as he's going left to right, I do need to incorporate a concept of recovery called cross-stepping, which is where you take the opposite foot and pass it across to replace a hook. So whenever you're playing guard and you have a spider-like hook, they always address this hook first and then try and pass. So as he tries to, he'll break the grip like so, and then he'll try and initiate a pass, usually to the side that they broke the grip. When that happens, you can replace the hook with a cross step. So as he breaks his grip, I replace it with a cross step. So it sort of eliminates the time where I'm vulnerable. Because if he weaves his hand out and I don't take a cross step, I'm very vulnerable in this motion. I have to start pushing. I'm going to have to do a big scramble, possibly even invert to recover. But if you can get the timing down, knowing he wants to deal with the control position, I'm just going to go a cross step. Use that to replace my original foot. The same thing applies with the lapel. As he tries to start to leg drag to one side or the other, here, I just engage a cross step. Using the cross step like this, turn it this way a little. Put the cross step in, just don't keep him away, and then I use it to recover. I don't want to stay there. Okay? And those are the 4 main recovery and control motions of just holding the lapel before we actually get into any of the positions themselves.